If this is okay, amazing. Love to see that. Well, guys, if no one has welcomed you yet, right, I just want to say a massive, massive welcome to Team Mastermind. This is a team that I've been privileged to be a part of coming up to 5 years now. I started my trading journey almost 5 years ago. Mr. Premium Bells, our Blue Diamonds, was actually my who introduced me into trading. And I must say, I'm super, super grateful to him literally every day for introducing me because, I used to be a secondary school English teacher. So just, pretty average job, worked a lot of hours, English, there is a lot to mark, a lot of essays in high school. Um, but I've been retired now for about a year and a half. Haven't had to work a job since, and don't plan on ever working one again because of what this industry has allowed me to do. So I really love doing these new customer calls because you guys don't realize, the power of maybe what you've just joined. Okay, you might have seen, maybe you came across someone on TikTok or Instagram, or maybe a good friend of yours introduced you into Jifu, and into trading. But you guys have found something very, very special in Team Mastermind. So I really hope, by the end of this call, you all feel very confident, you feel very equipped, and you know exactly what you need to do in your first month to 60 days here in Jifu. Okay. So we're going to go through a system that I want every single one of you to follow. Okay. Because basically all system is saving yourself time, energy, and money. There is no need for you to struggle and try and figure out everything on your own, right? There is no need to reinvent the wheel. Okay. We have kind of paved the way for you, and we want you to follow in our footsteps so that you can start making money as quickly as possible if you haven't done so already. Okay, so I'm going to go through 6 different steps. Okay, I thought I animated them, but they're all there on the screen. I'm just going to walk them through step by step, okay, on how you should be approaching, okay, Jifu. I'm going to point you in the right direction of, educators that you want to follow for signals, so on and so forth, okay? So the very first thing that you want to do, okay, is you want to educate yourself. Guys, I know we are all here to make money, okay? And I know copying and pasting a trade sounds really, really nice to make money on, maybe your first day, right? Whatever the case may be. And you, by all means, you can do that. Okay. But if you want to be in this long term, I'm talking to the people who still want to be here 6 months to a year, 5 years like me down the line, still making money and continuing to make more and more money, okay, from this opportunity, you have to educate yourself. Okay, so there's going to be 2 main places that you're going to do this. And this should be something you do within your first kind of like 24 to 48 hours. Okay, if you've already been here a week and you haven't done this yet, do it immediately. Okay, so first and foremost, you're going to go through the Forex Beginners module. Okay, on the Jifu Live platform, and I'm going to go show you exactly where that is. So if this is like your first day, you know where to find it. But you should also be watching the customer guide. You should also be watching the customer guide on the Mastermind portal, okay? Because it also has some very, very useful information. Okay, so first and foremost, okay, let's go over to the Jiffy Live platform. Okay, and we're going to come up here to the top. Okay, let me actually start from the very first page just to make sure everybody is on the right page. Okay, so first and foremost, you're going to come to the Forex Academy. Now, of course, we also have crypto. If you're somebody who's interested in investing into crypto, we have e-commerce, social media. There is a Mindset Academy, but I would highly suggest you narrow in and focus on one first. Start to educate, attend lives, become profitable, then you could venture into others. Okay, because if you're trying to do too many things at once, you might struggle to be consistent. Okay, so come to Forex first. And then at the top is the modules. Okay. Now notice I just said watch the beginners module. If you're brand new to trading, okay, there's no point in your first day sitting down, watching the beginner, then going to intermediate, then going to advanced, right? The advanced is going to go way over your heads. and you're probably just going to need to revisit it in a month anyways. Okay, so just watch the beginner. That's all you need to do. There's only 7 lessons in there. It's only if you sat down for like an hour and a half, you will be able to watch that whole module, take notes. Okay, please take notes as you go, right? Obviously, I'm an English teacher, so I'm always going to advocate for notes, but also just the way our brain functions, right? We need to see something 17 times in order for it to embed in our short-term memory, let alone our long-term memory. So if you just sit down and watch this and you've got maybe something else on in the background and you're kind of half paying attention and you don't like write anything down as you go, you're not going to retain any of that information and you basically just wasted your time. Okay, so get yourself in a quiet place, watch, take notes. Okay, so that's first and foremost. Then, if you come over to the Mastermind portal, now you should have all received instructions on how to register to the Mastermind portal when you first signed up. Okay, if you didn't, please message the person who you enrolled with and just say, hey, I'm on the onboarding call. Shannon says I need the Mastermind portal. Okay, and they can then send you instructions. Okay, because the Mastermind portal is where we do extra sessions like this. Okay, so you've got, see, calls and events, right? I'm actually in it right now. Okay, but this is I'm going to go through that after because that's part of number 2. Okay, but in the customer guide, okay, this is actually all going to be getting redone, but you can still watch it and it's still going to be applicable. Okay, so first and foremost, sorry, that's my son in the background. You've got Team Portal. That's actually what I'm going through right now, but also a back office overview. Okay, so if there's anything you need to do in your back office, this is going to give you a little tour. Sorry, this isn't even a video. This is just links to our apps. So you may or may not know, but you also have access to a travel app. So if you have any like holidays coming up and you haven't booked your hotel yet, look in the travel app first because we actually get really, really good discounts on hotels with our Jiffy membership. Okay, so that's something to have a look at as well. How to use the Jiffy Connect app. So this is where you're going to receive signals. I will go through this as well a little bit later in the call. These two, super, super valuable. Okay, if you are jumping on the mastermind calls where some of the leaders are going through the trend wave and kill shot strategy, Bells has actually done a video where, again, you can kind of go through at your own pace, take notes on the strategy. It's not all that difficult, so you will be able to probably pick it up quite quickly. But those are in there as well. If you haven't created yourself a trading account yet, okay, there's a video on how to create a trading account, okay, how to place trades with MetaTrader 5. This also includes how to link your broker to your MetaTrader 5. Okay, so if you haven't actually placed any trades yet and you need to link your broker, your either a demo account or live account to MetaTrader 5, this video also shows how to do that. Okay, and then there's a couple videos from me. These are Forex for Newbies trainings. I go through things like risk management, trading psychology, how to calculate pips. So lots of useful stuff for beginners in those trainings as well. Okay, and there's onboarding replays. You don't really need to watch those because you are attending one right now. Okay, so especially these old ones. All right, so guys, that's the first thing. Okay, that's the first thing you want to do. Let me get back over here to my slide. Where did it go? There we go. Okay. So that's the first thing that you want to do. Okay, is you want to start to educate yourself. Now, this is just the beginning. Okay, because then you want to start attending, number 2, attending the live sessions. Now, what I highly suggest you do straight after this call is you create yourself a schedule. Okay, guys, we have a lot of products that is going to make it very easy for you as a beginner to start making yourself profit. Okay, we have the scanners, we have the Jiffy Connect app where we're going to get trade ideas. Okay, but you need to plug in as much as possible to the live sessions as well. Why? Well, the lives, let's say you've got the Jiffy Connect app, it makes you money, cool. Okay, but the live sessions are going to be teaching you every single day, right? And I put on there 1 hour per day because, again, trading is not something you are going to pick up overnight. It is not something that you are going to get rich in your first month. Okay. Trading, even though we have products that are simple to use, trading is a skill you should be thinking about long term. Okay. It's a skill that in 10 years' time, you want to still be making money from, right? So while, yes, it's easy to copy and paste a trade, heaven forbid in 2 years' time, let's say Jifu disappears, right? It dissolves as a company, right? So you lose access to your Jifu Connect app. You're no longer getting signals. You want to know the skill. You want to know it enough that you can get on the charts and you can find yourself opportunities so that no matter what happens, you can make yourself money because nobody can take that skill away from you, right? So I highly suggest you create a schedule 1 hour per day. That's it, right? And the great part about our live sessions is most of the time the educators are doing live analysis, so you'll be able to make money on those sessions anyways, right? Now, I actually, on the next slide, I put an example. Oh no, why is it not working? There we go. Okay, that's what I wanted to show you. Okay. So if you guys know Bells, or you maybe heard of him, okay. Bells he's a blue diamond in this company, right? What that means is he is making $100,000 per month, not per year, per month. Okay. And he's the one who brought me into my first trading company. And I was doing this training for my team, right? And I went back into our text and I found this is the first week I joined trading. You can see our WhatsApp chat, the 4th of February, 2021. Okay, that's when I first joined trading. And I sent him, I put, is it sad at how happy this kind of organization makes me feel? Because like I'm a nerd when it comes to, organization. So as soon as I started my trading journey, he told me I needed to create a schedule. So I actually ordered one of those massive calendars that you can put on your desk, right? So it kind of took up like half my desk where I was going to be sitting, learning, and trading, right? And this was the schedule I created. Now, at the time, I was still working full time. Okay, so I only put in the calls that I knew I was going to be home from work and I was going to be able to attend. Or, right, you can see some of these are at 6 a.m., right? So this one on Wednesday was at 6 a.m., right? So I used to get up early before work so that I could attend a live call, right? Hopefully make some money on that call. Then I would get ready and I would go to work, right? This is the kind of sacrifice, and I'm only talking, most of you aren't going to do this. I'm talking to those of you who really want to make money. Like you really want to plug in and you really are sick of probably your day to day. You're maybe sick of living paycheck to paycheck. Like you really want to earn some money on, outside of your 9 to 5. Okay, that was me. Okay, so this was the kind of organization, this was the kind of level of organization I went to. And I even color coded it. The pink ones were live sessions on our platform. The blue ones, you can see I put bells. Like any team training he was doing, I was on that call. It didn't matter if I had seen the call a few times, I was on that call. Right? You can also see I'd written down some of my goals. I'm so happy and grateful now that I am. And on the right-hand side, I had some trading stuff. My goal was to grow my account 2% per day, right? So you can see. And I've put there like a quote, a plan is the what, the schedule is the when, but it takes both a plan and a schedule to get things done, right? If you guys, genuinely want to level up, you can't just in your head be like, okay, I've joined this trading thing, I'm going to make money. Right? That's kind of a plan you have in your head. But if you don't schedule when you're going to do it, I guarantee you won't do it. Because we all have busy lives, right? You could work a full day, you could get home and think, "Oh, I'm tired. Let me just toss on some Netflix. I got to make dinner. I got to put the kids to bed." There's always going to be a reason why not to do this. Okay? But if you put it in a schedule and you stick to that schedule, I guarantee you, 3 months, 6 months time, you won't be able to remember what it was like not to make money trading. Okay? So let's go back, right? Now, oh, Elijah. Sorry, guys. I have a 7-month-old, so he is lying next to me and he's just kind of destroyed his, okay, you can you're fine. Play with that. Okay. Right. So with your schedule, okay, what are you going to put on it? Okay, very, very simple. We've got the Jifu Live sessions, but we also have the Mastermind team schedule. And whatever group chat you're in, there's probably also extra sessions going on, right? Mastermind is such a big team now that we're kind of split off into different groups. So whatever group chat you're in, right, make sure to ask the person who enrolled you if there's a schedule, right? So in my team, for example, we've got a Google Drive with our daily schedule, our team schedule in it. Okay, your team probably has something similar. Okay, so first and foremost, you've got the Jifu Live sessions though, right? This is the gold right here. So what you should do after this call is just go through and have a look at which educators are on at a time that you know is going to suit you. Right? So this is EST. I'm near Toronto. Okay, so my time is going to probably be different to yours depending on where you are in the world. Okay. So let's say, for example, for me, okay, let's say Donnie, right? Donnie Taylor, he is a smart money concepts educator. Okay. So if you're wanting to learn smart money concepts, he is someone you can plug into, right? But he is live at 7 a.m., 2 days of the week, and 8 a.m. Well, that's, 7 a.m. is perfect for me because it's before I've kind of started any of my Zoom calls for the day, right? So I know that Donnie's session is one that I could get on, right? But if, let's say for you guys, let's say you're in the UK or Europe and maybe you work a 9 to 5, someone like, Dr. Josh Lee, he's on at 1 p.m. my time, but that's 6 p.m. in the UK. So maybe you've gotten home from work for the day, you can sit down, plug into a live call, and then afterwards get your dinner, do whatever it is you got to do. Okay, so have a good look through the schedule, okay, and schedule in what is going to work for you. And again, like I said, I would try and get on one live call per day. Okay, so a Jifu live call, and then if you can also attend a training that your team is doing, amazing. Okay. What I would also suggest in the beginning, in your first month, try and sample, the different educators because you never know who's going to kind of resonate with you. Right? I used to be a teacher, so I know, there were kids who hated me because I probably didn't like them very much either. So they annoyed me, maybe I just, whatever, right? So I know there's some kids who maybe come into my class and think, "Oh my God, I got English," right? They don't like it. But there's others who I know, they'll come see me at lunch, they'll want to have a chit chat, like they're really good in class. So clearly the way I was teaching or the way I was communicating they enjoyed. The same is going to, be for our educators. There's a lot of educators on at similar times. You might like one versus the other. Okay. Or maybe you're finding one is getting you better results than the other. Okay. So in your first month, just kind of, shop around. Exactly. More money, right? The more sessions you get on, the more money you could potentially make. I say potentially, right? Of course, past profits do not guarantee future results. But yeah, if you got Mondays off, well, go nuts. Get on as many sessions as you want. Okay. And then, of course, we have the mastermind schedule, which is on here. Okay. Like I saw before, yeah, calls and events. Okay. So you've got customer onboarding. It is the same time every day, Monday to Friday. Okay. Once you've attended it 1 or 2 times, you probably don't need to, but other leaders might teach it a little bit differently than I do, right? So by all means, feel free to get on. We've got Kenvry. Kenvry is actually a Jifu Live educator, but he is in Team Mastermind, right? So there's some sessions on here with Kenvry. We've got Trend Wave and Kill Shot every day at 12 p.m. UK time, 7 a.m. EST. Okay, so that's all on here as well. Okay, so you've got lots of different stuff. If you want to start making money through the business as well, every Saturday at 1 p.m. UK time, all of our six-figure earners and above do trainings on the business side as well, right? So exactly, Kenneth. So if you're wanting to make money not just in trading, but as, a networker as well, okay, this is really what has helped me retire. Right? Because being an affiliate gives me a residual income. So it doesn't matter what happens in my trading account this week. I know every Friday I am getting paid regardless. Okay. So that is number 2. We progress. Number 3. Okay. So you've done your education. You've created yourself a schedule and you're starting to, obviously follow that schedule. Okay. The third thing you want to do is you want to start studying the scanners because the scanners is, let's say you've got a really, really busy lifestyle. Maybe you work 12-hour shifts or whatever the case may be. The scanners is what's going to help you trade at any time of the day whenever you have some free time. So I personally I do most of my trading in the morning because I do a trading call for my team at 8 a.m. my time. So, I can get up, I do my morning routine, I say my affirmations, get myself a coffee, even though it's the afternoon, but my son didn't sleep, so I'm really tired. But in the morning, that's when it's nice. I sit down on the scanners, I do a session with my team. Okay, I maybe take a trade there, take a trade on my own, and then I just go about my day. So once you've learned how to use the scanners, that could be a nice little routine you get yourself into once you're confident and you're consistently profitable. Okay, now we highly suggest as a team you study the trend wave and kill shot strategy because it is very, very duplicatable for beginners. So if you're a beginner trader, you still don't, you're pretty new to this whole thing, that strategy is super simple, but also very effective, right? I mean, we wouldn't suggest it if it didn't make you money, right? It's very effective. So again, over in the customer guide, that was the one I pointed out to you guys. Um, these videos here by Bells, okay, he goes through, so introduction to trend wave and kill shot. Okay, he goes through how to use that particular strategy. So those two scanners. We also, like I said, have a call at 12 p.m. every day UK time. Okay, if you are in my group chat, we also have extra calls. So just, look at our team schedule, which is in the group Google Drive. Okay, if you're not in my group chat, look at your own schedule. Okay. Um, so the scanners, though, let me give you a quick tour. Okay, the scanners are over here. There is a tab here, learn how to use the scanners. So this is definitely useful for understanding the symbols that the scanners have on them. So for example, trend wave looks like this. Okay, you've got these little diamonds, you've got this little blood drop here, you've got, a green arrow that says long, a red arrow that says short. Okay, you've got this indicator down here at the bottom. So just for you to have a good understanding of what those are, you can come into here, learn how to use the GFU scanners, and you can see there's tutorials here as well. Okay, so you've got tutorials on trend wave that you can watch. Okay, same thing goes for kill shot, but kill shot, I think this tutorial is okay, there's 3 here. Okay, there's 3 here. All right. So I'm not going to actually do a full training on the scanners because, we would be here for quite some time, but just so you guys know where to find them. Now, one thing I did want to mention, as you can see, we obviously have, a wide variety of scanners, right? We've actually got 9 different scanners. Okay. But again, remember, jack of all trades is the master of nothing. Don't go and try and learn how to use every single scanner all at once. Okay, you're just going to confuse yourself, right? Especially if you're a beginner. Just trust me, focus on 1, maybe 2 at the most. So let's say, for example, Nick Angles, he was on the schedule. Okay, let's say he is someone that you've put on your schedule because he fits in with your life. Then okay, you can also be learning Golden Era because that's a scanner that he teaches, right? But don't be like, okay, I'm going to get on his call and learn Golden Era, and I'm going to get on John Oliver's and learn Sniper Pro, and then I'm going to get on all the Mastermind ones and learn Trend Wave and Kill Shot. You're just going to probably get yourself a little bit overwhelmed. Okay, so really just kind of stick to 1 or 2. And again, once you become consistent and you've become profitable, by all means, start looking at some of these other scanners because each of these scanners is like a slightly different style of trading. So if you want to learn smart money concepts, right, which is essentially how it's looking at how the banks are trading and trading with the banks, then you'd want to use the smart scanner or the smart Monix scanner. Okay. If you're someone who wants to scalp, like you want to be in and out of the market quickly, right? Maybe sit down in the morning for 30 minutes to an hour, take 4 or 5 trades and be done. Golden Era or Sniper Pro are going to be good ones for you. Okay. So that is number 3. Now, again, I would suggest if you're going to take trades by yourself while you're learning, stick to a demo at first, right? Use your live account for the professional traders if you get on their sessions for the Jifu Connect app, because you don't want to make kind of silly mistakes with your own money when you're just starting to learn how to use the scanners. Okay. Now, number 4, leverage the educator trade ideas. The Jifu Connect app, guys, it is, we get several trade ideas. Okay. We get several trade ideas daily. Okay. But I've just listed the educators who have very, very good results. Okay. Because again, you don't want to take, there is such a thing as over trading. So you don't want to take every single trade that comes in that app, because you're going to be taking like way too many trades per day. Okay, so Eric Lucas, you may want to maybe write these names down. Okay, but Eric Lucas, he sends trade ideas in the premium Forex channel. Okay, he sends trade ideas in the premium Forex channel, but also if you have the oh, what's it called? Like the tap to trade function where you've linked your broker to the Jifu Connect app, that is actually not available in US and Canada anymore. So if you're in the US and Canada, our laws are too strict. Okay, but if you're in anywhere else in the world and you've connected your broker to the Jifu Connect app, Eric Lucas also sends trade ideas there where you can just click copy idea. Okay, so Eric Lucas is one. If he sends a trade, don't miss it. Don't miss it. Now, okay, that being said, if he sends a trade tomorrow and it loses, don't come for me, okay? Because he is going to lose trades sometimes, but his win rate is incredible. Okay, he trades only golds and he's excellent, right? Tony and Nico, okay, they are also, could you please share your slide in the group? Yes, I can do that. Yeah. Yes, I can do that. I'll share it into there's an affiliate chat that the whole of Mastermind is in. So if you just ask one of your leaders, I'll share it in there if you're not in that group, okay? Tony and Nico are also really good ones to follow. Okay, so on the Jifu Connect app, you want to make sure you subscribe to them so that you're getting their notifications. Okay, they sent a US oil trade today. It didn't activate, right? But if they send a trade, they don't send them very often. They maybe send a couple a week. Also, very, very good, right? Their trades, if you hold them all the way to TP3, sometimes they have like a 1 to 18 risk to reward, like crazy, crazy good. Okay. And then anything that goes in the crypto channel, anything that goes in the premium crypto channel with Nick Gomez and Daniel Lopez, don't miss them. Okay. Nick Gomez, he mostly sends XRP and Ethereum, which you can trade on your MetaTrader 5. Okay. So you'll still be able to take those just like you do any other trade. And then you've got Daniel Lopez, who sends mostly Solana, so Sol USD. Sometimes I think I've seen him send a Bitcoin one before, but not very often. But he also sends Forex trade ideas. So he sent a Euro JPY on Friday last week. I set it by the time I woke up, like market opened on Sunday, it smacked TP. Okay, so if he sends Forex ideas, also, take those too. Okay, those are probably the highest performing. Don't quote me, but they are very high performing educators, and with them you'll still get multiple trade ideas come through. If you want to take some in the premium FX, by all means, I'm not telling you not to take them. They're still, they're educators for a reason, okay, because they're good. Okay, but these ones personally, I have tested. Anytime they come through, I am taking those trades. Okay. Now, number 5. Now this one is crucial. Okay. Guys, you must have a trading plan. If you don't have a trading plan and you go into the market every day and don't know what your goal is, you're going to end up over trading. You're going to end up trading way too much. Okay. You're going to end up, maybe making silly mistakes. Let's say you might even like, if you haven't traded much that day, I'm going to show you, Nicola, don't worry. The names, Gina, if you just look under number 4, they're on the screen. So just take a screenshot or write them down. See, number 4, where it says leverage educators' trade ideas, I've written their names down there. Okay, and Nicole, I'm going to show you how to make a trading plan. Okay, so you want to have a daily target and be disciplined toward it each day. Okay, you guys are going to very, very quickly realize, okay, that it's not the educators who are going to cause you to take a loss. It is not going to be the trade ideas. It is not going to be the scanners. It is going to be you, mostly, that causes you to lose money. Okay, why do I say that? Because your emotions are going to get the better of you. Okay, and I say that with confidence because I've been in this industry almost 5 years, and every single beginner is the same. And it's fine because you need to learn, right? You need to learn how to master your emotions. You need to learn how to grow your mindset. But I guarantee you, there is going to be a day where you see people maybe posting results in the group chat. They've made money. That person's made $100. That person's made $500. That person's made $1,000. Or, somebody's put in the group chat, oh my God, BTC is flying, rah, rah, rah. So you get FOMO, okay? FOMO, fear of missing outs. I had somebody ask me what FOMO meant the other day, so I'm making sure I say it. But you get FOMO and you run over to your MetaTrader and you just, you place a buy on Bitcoin without even knowing what your TP is going to be, what your stop loss is going to be. You just don't want to miss it. Okay? And then that could be the moment that Bitcoin is flew enough and then it starts having its retracement and all of a sudden you're losing money and you don't even know why you're in a trade. Okay? That is going to happen. You've got to try not to look at other people's results in the chat and compare it to your results. Okay? Because number 1, you're new. Okay, so it's going to take a bit of time. Number 2, you've got no idea how long they've been trading. You have no idea how much money is in their trading account, right? If someone's making like, 500 pound, 1,000 pound per day, for example, chances are they've got a pretty big trading account, right? They've probably been growing that over time. And if they don't, then they're massively over leveraging and over trading. And that's not something you want to do anyways, because that will come back and bite you on the ass. I guarantee it. Okay, so how are you going to make a trading plan? Okay, exit. There we go. So there's loads of different ways you can do this. Okay, this is just personally how I started out 5 years ago. Okay, I'm going to drop this link into the chat box. Okay, and this is a compounding trading plan. Now you can do a different one where maybe you might let's say in your first month, for example, your target might be to pay off a bill, right? Let's say your phone bill, I don't know, my phone bill is like $150, right? Let's say my phone bill is $150. Okay, there's 20 trading days in a month. I might just divide that 150 by 20, and that becomes my daily target. Okay, just as an example, right? That's also a nice way to do a trading plan in your first month, because if you've made that, you can then withdraw it and pay a bill, right? And trading then becomes real. If you don't withdraw your money, it's not really real, right? You got to withdraw and pay for something or buy something so that you can see that this is something that actually works. Okay, so that's one option in your first month. But long term, I would suggest having some sort of long-term plan and long-term compounding goal. Okay, so how does this work? Well, first and foremost, you're going to put where it says initial purchase amount is however much you want to start with in your trading account. Okay, so let's say you want to start with, I don't know, $250, 250 pounds, euros, whichever currency. Okay, that's kind of, I would say, like an average amount that people would start with. Okay, now your goal, okay, is to grow that by a certain percentage per day. I suggest 2 to 3%, because with smaller capital like 250, 2 to 3% is really realistic, right? Because 2% is only going to be $5. It is not hard to make $5 trading in a day. Okay, so let's put 3%, because 250, it's not that much, and 3% is certainly a realistic goal. Now, start with a short-term goal. Okay, I do 3 months when I'm having calls with my newbies, I suggest 3 months, 6 months, and then a year, because you can then obviously see where this could potentially take you. Okay, so let's start with 3 months, which would be 20, 40, 60 trading days. Okay, because remember, we trade Monday to Friday. Okay, so 60 trading days. My daily reinvest is going to be 100%. All that means is if I didn't withdraw in my first 60 days, I just let it compound. Can you withdraw? Absolutely. Of course you can. Okay, but this is just to kind of show you. Am I going to include weekends? No. Okay, and I'm going to put my start date as today, and I'm going to calculate, right? So if I start with 250, 3% per day, I could look to grow that into almost $1,500. Okay, that's like a 400% growth, which in 90 days, or not even 90 days, 60 trading days, which would be like 3 months, is incredible, right? A 400% growth. Now, where's your plan? If you scroll down, this becomes your trading plan, right? Now, I would personally maybe copy and paste this into a spreadsheet so that you can actually kind of delete this one here that says total principal, because then each day you can come to your trading plan and you can fill in how much your account has grown by. Okay, so day one, you only need to make $7.50. Now, here's the key. Once you have made your daily percentage, stop trading. Stop. Okay, reason why. There's number one, there's always going to be more trades. You can get on the scanner at any time and you could literally trade all day if you wanted to. Is that sustainable? No. Is that going to teach you bad habits? Yes. Any professional trader who does this for a living and makes big, big money, right, will have a target for the day or for the week. And if they hit it, laptop gets shut down. Okay, because if you want this to be long term, there has to be, you have to treat this like a job. Treat it like a job and it will, it will pay you. If you treat it like a hobby where you're just going into the market, slapdash, taking this, taking that, it's not gonna do what you want it to do. Now, this is where your mindset comes in because $7.50, it's nothing to most people, right? $7.50, I could go buy a large latte from Starbucks and it's going to cost me that much money. Okay, so again, psychologically, you need to know, okay, $7.50, it's not that much. I'm still going to stop. Because at the end of the 3 months, I'm not just going to be making $7.50. I'm now going to be starting to make, okay, $42.90, $42. Again, this is just approximate. It's not going to be exact. But if you stick to 3% per day and you continue to compound, it will be something like this. Right? Now, do that for however much you're going to start with for 3 months. Now, if we do 6 months, okay, which would be 120 trading days, and now I calculate that same 250 with my same 3% per day, I could potentially be turning that into almost $9,000. Okay, almost $9,000 in 6 months. So that's a little over 1,000 per month, if you were to average it, right? Which again, that's a good side income, right? If you start making an extra 1,000 on the side, I'm pretty sure most of us would be happy, right? If you have a job. But then look at what happens if you do for a full year, which is approximately 260 business days. That 250, look at how big that goes. Okay, look at how big that goes in the second 6 months. Just by doing the same action every day, 3% per day, 3% per day. As your account grows, obviously you'll be able to make your lot size bigger, right? The first month, it's probably just going to be a 0.01, small little lot size, and you're going to think, oh my gosh, like I want to make more money. Stay disciplined and consistent. Because again, if I were to tell you today, that if you did this every single day, and I guaranteed you that at the end of the year, I could hand you a check for $500,000, you would flip and well do it. If I guaranteed you would do whatever I told you to. If I said you just had to do this every single day, Monday to Friday, and at the end of that year, I'm going to hand you a check for $500,000, you would do it. Okay, so don't let your mindset mess you up. Okay, because reason why I say that is because there's going to be days where you don't make your 3%. You might take a loss, and that's okay. Okay, today I only made $30, but I stopped trading because I had a loss. Okay, but yesterday I made $190. So even though today wasn't a great day, it was a crappy day for me, yesterday was a great one. So over the entire week, if I then look at the cumulative what I've made, one bad day doesn't mean your whole week's going to be bad. One bad week doesn't mean your whole month's going to be bad. Okay, so you also want to have this is your trading plan for how much you're going to grow your account, but you also want to have rules in place for when losses happen because losses will happen. Okay, so I'm gonna type this one in the chat box because I don't think I put it on my slide. Okay, but you should only be risking. Only I'm gonna put it in capital letters. Only risk 1 to 2% of your entire account per trade. Well, what does that mean? If I have a $500 account, if I'm risking 1%, that would mean if I lose a trade, I should only lose $5, maximum 10 if I've risked 2%. Okay, so part of your learning process is going to be learning how to, number one, calculate pips. So that way you can see how big a stop loss is. And then take a lot size according to that stop loss. If you're super new and what I'm saying right now is gibberish, don't worry. Once you go through the beginner lessons, then that's going to make sense. Okay, so only risk 1 to 2% per trade. I'm going to put another rule in the chat box that I follow, and I highly suggest you follow too. If you lose 3%, stop trading. Okay, if you've had a bad day, you've taken a couple losses, you've lost 3% of your account, stop trading. One of the worst things you can do is think, okay, like I want to make that back. Let me just take another trade and let's up the lot size. So if I have a big lot size, if I win that, I'm going to win it all back. Because then if you lose, then you're in even bigger, a deeper hole. Okay, we call it revenge trading. Okay, definitely not something you want to get in the habit of doing. In fact, if you over leverage and win a trade, that's probably the worst thing that can happen because then you get cocky. Okay, so just try to avoid that. So if you lose 3%, stop trading. Last one, when you hit your target, stop trading. If you just follow those 3 rules consistently and stay disciplined, you will do great things. Okay? Because again, if I just come back to my compounding, right? This $250 into over $500,000, right, in a year. Even if you had bad days, let's say you only made half of this. Let's say you only made half of this and you walked away with $200,000, less than half. I still think that's a pretty good year and it's going to make over double most people's salaries, right? $100,000 a year job is a very good salary. If you make 200,000, you're laughing, right? So and keep this in mind. This is why I show you an entire year because it gives you some perspective that if you have a losing day, it's okay. Because in a year, even if you make half of 540,000, it's still going to be a good freaking year. What about when you hit TP1 but want to hit TP2? So Samuel, if you're going to if you want to take trades to more and hold for more TPs, then you want to divide your risk over 2 entries, right? So you might have risk 0.5% or 1% for TP1. So when it hits TP1, you bag some profit, but then you can have a second entry open where you're risking maybe 0.5%. So you can trail your stop loss and just hold it longer. Right? But you can't hit a TP and then still be in the trade. So you would need to either be monitoring the trade and just kind of move your TP along with it, along with the market, or trail your stop loss behind you along with the market. Okay. But I personally, when I'm using TrendWave, I always take 2 entries on my trades. 1 entry always comes out at exit 2 because that's usually a 1-to-1 risk to reward. Okay, and then my second entry, I'm trailing my stop loss behind. Okay, Right, guys, last but not least. Okay, and actually, I just want to give you this little analogy here. Now that we're talking about money, why is this not working? Okay, I'm gonna have to leave it on here, okay? But shh, Elijah, here, where's your bottle? We're almost done, baby. We're almost done. I know. You've been so good. You take that. There we go. Good boy. Okay. So, just to give this perspective, right? When it comes to trading, again, a lot of people, you come into this industry because you want to make money. I get it, right? That's why I joined. I wanted to make money. Okay. But if you don't make money within your first like 2 months, people quit. To me, that mindset is crazy because if you were wanting to learn how to speak French, you know that if you're going to France in a month, you're not going to be fluent. I don't care how many French lessons you take. I don't care if you got the Duolingo app on your phone. You will not speak fluent French in a month. Okay. Trading is the same. You will not master trading in a month and become a millionaire. It's not going to happen. Okay. It takes time. Right. So I actually, I went as far as to look at a high paying job. Okay. In the US, I just think the idea of a heart surgeon sounds really, really cool. Okay. Plus, I was also obsessed with Grey's Anatomy. Okay. So I thought surgeons, probably had the coolest, most interesting jobs ever. Okay. So I went and looked it up. Okay. In the United States, the average salary for a cardiothoracic surgeon is $367,000 per year. Okay. However, and if you look at the bottom, it could potentially reach $810,000. That's a pretty outstanding salary, $810,000. Okay, but we look at this second screenshot. To become a heart surgeon takes significant commitment to education and training, typically taking 13 to 15 years after high school. So yes, you could potentially make $400,000 a year, but it's going to take you almost 15 years of education to do it. I think we would all agree that requires a significant amount of time sacrifice and monetary sacrifice, because then I went and looked how much it takes. This is the third one here, how much it costs to become a surgeon. It says becoming a heart surgeon in the US involves significant costs, including medical school residency, and a fellowship training. The total cost can easily exceed $200,000 for medical school alone. Okay. And then if you look at the bottom, it says the annual cost of a residency potentially reaching between 330 to 667,000. So you add medical school, then you add the residency, and I didn't even put on there the fellowship. So in the US, you're looking at like easily 750 to almost $1 million just to become a heart surgeon. 15 years of your life, potentially $1 million in debt to get to a high paying career. So why do people think you're going to master a skill like trading in 3 months? Because this skill could potentially earn you as much as a heart surgeon if you eventually do this full time. You build up an account. Okay. Again, potentially. Most people do not have the staying power to start, to make that amount of money in trading because you'll quit before you ever get there. Okay. But I use this as an example just to show, right? Obviously, people who become surgeons, they know they're dedicating 15 years of their lives for the promise of an excellent, excellent salary. Right? So trading should be no different. Right? You should dedicate. I mean, if I were you, if you've just joined mentally, I would say I'm going to be here a year from now. It's only going to cost you $185 a month compared to what those surgeons pay. Okay, so lastly, guys, and then I'm going to finish. The last thing is just stay plugged in, right? If you stay plugged into the sessions, if you continue to attend the Zoom calls that your team puts on, right? If you just continue to trade each day, slowly, slowly, build up your accounts, there's no way you can fail if you keep persisting. There's no way. And I put it on the bottom there, complacency is what's going to cause you to fail. If you go a whole week without studying anything, without growing your mind, without growing your knowledge at all, right? Complacency is what's going to cause you to fail. Okay? What if we can't download the Jifu app? I mean, you just go to your app, your app store or Play Store. There should be no reason why you cannot download the app. So I'm not sure what kind of issue you're having or what kind of problem it is, but there should, I've not known a single person not be able to download the app. You can't find it. Just go to your app store, Jifu Connect. Okay, what you want to do first, Nadim, is you want to educate yourself. The very first thing on my slide was to educate yourself. And if you went to the customer guide on the Mastermind portal, one of the videos is the Jifu Connect app. So start by educating yourself, yeah? Then all of the other stuff will come, right? Because the app is 1,000% in the App Store. You might just be jumping the gun and looking for the wrong thing. All right, so educate, educate, educate. Okay, you can also go into your back office and there is a link to it, I believe. Morona, I think you've been on one of my calls. I think you're in potentially my group chat. So just message the person you signed up with, right? But make sure you've watched this first so you know what the app looks like, right? And you know what to search up in your app store, but it should just be Jifu Connect. That's it. It's in the Play Store, it's in the App Store. So there shouldn't really be any issues. All right, guys, are there any questions before we finish? Because we've been almost an hour. We've gone through all 6 steps, right? And guys, just don't quit. That's all I can say is you've started this for a reason. I'm sure you have goals that you want to attain. Maybe it's to go on extra holidays. Maybe it's to buy a house. Maybe it's to clear debt. Whatever they are, just each day when you find yourself struggling, or if you find yourself like, oh my gosh, like I just lost a trade, I can't do this, just think about your goals. Because if you quit, then those goals are never going to happen. Just don't quit. That's all. That's the only advice I can give you is after being here for 4.5 years, I just didn't quit. And now I don't have to work a job. I haven't worked a job in over a year and a half, right? I'm now a new mom, so I know he's never gonna have to go to daycare. I don't need to stress about maternity. I'm cool. But it's because I didn't quit, even when things got hard. Okay. So guys, if there's no other questions, right? If there's no other questions, if you put trades from educator but see yourself losing and someone puts the same pair and makes money, is that your own? No, Samuel, trades are gonna lose, right? That's all part of the game, right? Not there's even though our educators, they have to perform at a certain standard, they actually get audited every 3 months for their results. So if there's an educator who's sending trades onto our app, it's because they have a good win rate. It's because they are a good trader. So if they lose a trade, it's fine. If you've done your appropriate risk management and it goes and hits your stop loss, but you've done your risk management and you're only risking 1 to 2% per trade, then let it hit stop loss. Right? If this is why it's important to follow the same educators consistently so you're consistently getting those same results. Okay? So it's fine. There's nothing you've done wrong. If a trade hits stop loss and you've copied it from the educator, it just means they've had a losing trade. It's fine. Okay? So guys, we're going to end there. You're welcome, Israel. Hope you guys all have a fantastic rest of your evening. Take care, and hopefully I will see you guys all very, very soon. Bye.